Yes, we are going to be talking about using the on-chain space as a vehicle for fundraising for film. Very excited. This is a very interesting topic we're diving into today. We have Giselle Bonilla, Alex Silb, and Tim here from B3. Very excited to talk about everything that we have cooking here today with Sequel. And Giselle actually, got to look at a preview, got to see some of your work, and yeah, just very honored to have you on today. Having someone like yourself of your caliber from the film world, exploring on-chain, I think it's very exciting. And Alex, great to connect with you as well. And Tim and I go way back now, you guys. You've seen us on streams already at this point. So yeah, maybe we can kick it off with some introductions. Giselle, I would love to hear from you.
Thank you for the very sweet intro. I'm very happy to be here. My name is Giselle Bonilla. I directed the film The Musical on Sequel.
Awesome. And Alex, yeah, if you want to share a couple of quick words, introduce yourself, feel free.
Yeah, no, I'm excited for you to have me here. I am one of the partners at Sequel, and we're really excited to be bringing our director Giselle on to speak more to the movie, to our first project that we're really excited about.
And I'm Tim. I worked closely with Rachel in the past from the B3 side, but I've been helping out on the sequel side as well, sort of helping with the financing platform that we're building out in partnership with B3. And yeah, really excited. I'm excited for this.
Excited to talk movies.
Well, you guys are you have a really good entry point coming into the space, meeting Tim, B3. I mean, you guys really just connected with just an all-star team of individuals. And I've had the pleasure of working with the B3 team. Shout out to Victoria, Daryl. Just saw Victoria on a live stream just before this. And oh, I love your cat's so cute. If we're lucky, we might get an appearance from Bodhi today. He's sometimes a guest star on our shows. Yeah, so okay, I want to start from the top. Just kind of going around to all of you here. What attracted you to the story? Maybe we start with Giselle on this. Actually, I'm curious what attracted you to the story for the musical. And you had collaborated with writer Alex Heller before on the short film version of this. So clearly, it's something that's really special to you that you wanted to revisit.
Yeah, well, for anyone who doesn't know what the musical's about, it's a dark comedy about this like frustrated middle school theater teacher who wants to be a playwright, and his ex-girlfriend, the art teacher, starts dating his nemesis, the school principal. And the principal has aspirations of running for local politics and getting the school on the blue ribbon list. And so, in order to get back at him for stealing his girlfriend, the theater teacher makes a musical about 9/11 to like ruin the principal's political ambitions and career.
Wow.
And so it's what attracted me to it was honestly just like I feel like when women go through a breakup, it's like I'm gonna become the best version of myself despite whatever. And then when a guy does it, it's when a guy goes through grief like that and is so emasculated and humiliated by being dumped, which most of us have experienced, it's like usually external and it's like destructive. And I think it's the root cause of like all the war in the world right now. And so I was really fat. I really wanted to make a comedy about that, like the feeling of like the mania post breakup. And yeah, that's and Alex and I are very close friends. We went to grad school together at the American Film Institute, where we made the short proof of concept for the film and developed it into a feature together. And it's just like we both just find like we both have experienced. The main character's name is Doug, and we always say like this film has turned everyone involved into Doug because everyone at one point or another has felt that like manic rush of like wanting to do the worst thing possible, like both get back with and at your ex at the same time after you break up. And I think I would like to see a rom-com that has that perspective as opposed to like them getting back together.
Yeah, I think it's very rich, and like the first thing that comes to mind for me is just entertaining, right? Because like when you're watching it play out as a story and it's not happening in your actual life, I mean that can be viewed as a comedy, like it's funny. But yeah, I'm curious, Alex, like your thoughts on the story and kind of your hand in all of this as well.
Yeah, I mean, so I've known Giselle kind of from a distance and now a bit closer for a while. We went to school together and we just have been, coming from the film side of things, have seen so many people making short films, turning them into, proof of concepts for features, and it just was, we felt was an incredibly original idea, and it was something we were really drawn to after seeing the, proof of concept of it. And I think that it's it has a lot of elements of like a rom-com and some traditional comedies, but there's just so much more nuance to it than that, and there's so much more, you know, irreverence, I'll say, that really drew us to the story. And I think they're just doing something different. And once they started production, we've just been trying to get involved since the beginning, and we've been, lucky enough to have the opportunity to get involved towards the end of production, which is really exciting for us to see the process through. But yeah, it's really just ever since we kind of got our hands on the story and just got a sense of the project in general, we've been really excited about it and really excited about helping in any way we can.
That's incredible, and I'm curious, like, how you guys connected with Tim. Like, I'm curious to hear the story of like meeting Tim, connecting with B3. Like, what does that journey look like? Because now you guys, you're on Onchain Media. This is a stream that's heavily focused on the Onchain space, and obviously there's crossover for me with film, entertainment, media. I've actually created a short documentary film, so I have huge respect for filmmakers. I know the work and stress, honestly, that goes into that. I know you guys work very hard for your craft and what you love. But yeah, curious to hear this arc of like how you went from, traditional filmmaking to now exploring and kind of dipping your toes in the on-chain pool, if you will, and meeting Tim.
Yeah, I mean, I can speak to that really quick just before Tim hops on. I think like something that we really think is important about Sequel is, blending these two worlds together. So this is like, again, this chat is representative of that based on like who we have here. We have a little bit of just film people, just on-chain people, and somebody kind of right in the middle there. We have really been focused on like coming from the film world and being able to enmesh ourselves in the on-chain community while still keeping our roots in film. And so I've known Tim for a long time as just a personal friend. I knew him well when he worked at Rainbow, and so that kind of got me involved in the crypto community, and I've always had interest in dipping my toes in. And then I became more involved recently, and using my film background and my partner Phil's film background, we've been able to connect with filmmakers and kind of just, we're trying to bridge those two worlds together and use kind of the best pieces of both worlds to make a great product.
I think
that's so exciting. I'm just so proud of you guys. Like, you're doing really incredible work. And I talk about this all the time. I think media and film, it's such a powerful vehicle for us to tell stories, right? And like get messages out there, spark movements, video, media, film. Like, that's how we spread messages and like, I think communicate on the deepest level with people. Yeah, go ahead, Tim.
Yeah, I think from my side, I mean, I was watching, I've known about this movie for the last probably 6 months. And the concept, I was always like, this sounds awesome. They were like filling.
I remember you sharing with me and being all excited like a couple months back when we started talking.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, they were trying to do, even before the sort of like on-chain stuff was happening. I was hearing like they were really excited about this film. They wanted to do anything to kind of get involved. They were trying to fundraise just through the normal channels. And they were just like running into this insane these insane blockers, mostly because of the amount of money that they were trying to raise was like kind of in this weird nebulous place where it's like too little for sort of the institutional, film investment service, whatever. And it's also too much for like, a normal person. It's like not everybody has 100 to 200, 300K to throw at a movie that, has a lot of promise, but like, it's a movie at the end of the day. And so I don't know at what point, I think at some point I had like mentioned, you could do something on chain. And eventually they were like off to the races and like making a token. And I was like, they kind of like, do you want to be involved? Do you want to be involved? And then honestly, I saw the trailer, and I was like, oh, I'm all in.
Yeah.
And like, it's sort of, there's like, just being in this space for so long, there's like such a lack of tangible, real like projects that you want to back. and like seeing something that is like going to be like really like enjoyed by so many people, I was like, okay, we need to have some stake in this. And yeah, so I've been helping them like, you know, get in touch with the base team, and the base team is all excited about the film. They saw, like, Jesse saw the preview. Like, this is thing
Nice.
it's round. Like, and yeah, I think excited for like crypto to like have a real world use case, because I think financing is broken in the film industry, and like this is a real path, and we have all these other ideas of like how to sort of make this more accessible for other people.
Yeah, I think this is so needed. And, you know, it's actually a topic that I come to regularly. And in my documentary, Onchain Humans and Impact, we actually have someone on, you know, who's worked on a lot of traditional films, right? Who, you know, worked with James Cameron, Titanic, Avatar, like some really big films. And, you know, some of my current friends I work with, shout out to Film 3 DAO, you know, working with Kristen and Pippin of Flannel Donut, Pattern Integrity. You know, they work with people like Muse Brooker, if you know him from Kevin Hart's new show, Lil Kev. And I'm seeing like a lot more people from the traditional world of filmmaking and entertainment exploring on-chain. Like it's happening, it's coming up more and more. And I think it's very exciting, you know, and I think you guys are in a really good place, especially exploring it as a vehicle for fundraising. Because, you know, being in the space for years, I've seen things be funded, frankly, that like didn't need to be funded. So like funding artists to like support their craft, to support their creativity, I think that's such a positive use case for the on-chain space. And yeah, just to kind of go back to the agenda here, Giselle, I'm curious. As a young filmmaker, like what have been the biggest challenges you've seen? Like, what does this next generation of producers, executives, and like what does the space have to do to evolve to help great filmmakers continue to create?
Well, it's like what I love about filmmaking is how communal it is. Like it isn't just about like you know, supporting one single artist. It's like Alex and I went to undergrad together, and Phil and I were in a writing class together, and like all we wanted to do was make movies, and it's so hard, and it's just like and then it was just it's really hard to have somebody take a risk on you when you don't have a feature under your belt. Like the musical is my first feature, and it really I feel like it took 10 almost 10 years since I graduated from undergrad with these guys to like have them. It was like we all kind of grew up together, where like, you know, Phil became the head of production at a company, and like all of my department heads from the short needed time to like, you know, learn their craft and get their skill, and then we all kind of met at a place, and we're at the like, it just like it takes a lot of patience and
You got to get seasoned
you gotta
together.
get seasoned,
Yeah.
yeah, but also like the amount of buyers and the traditional financing routes are just dwindling because everyone's just like swallowing each other up in the film industry and getting bought out by one another until there's gonna be like nothing left, and then all that's gonna be allowed to be made is like big IP, and then that like really lessens the opportunity for original filmmaking, and
And
closes
indie
the avenue.
filmmaking.
Exactly, like closes the avenue for young filmmakers when it's like, but you have community. And like what's so exciting about On-Chain is that like it isn't just one single, you know, financier giving you the check to like go accomplish your dreams. Like it's like an actual community of
Yeah.
hundreds of people, and it feel there's something very like collaborative about that, and in the same way as like making a movie, where like all of the department heads from the short film are involved in the feature, because I really do believe in like coming up together, and I wouldn't trade that opportunity for anything, because it just it I think that that's when you're going to get the best quality of work, is when you're working with your friends, because like you guys would all like live and die for the story, and it's not just about like supporting one single filmmaker, you know. And then it becomes like a I don't know. Then you're surrounded by people who care about it so much that everyone is working their hardest to make it as good as possible. And then I think that really comes through when people watch it, and then you get to meet people like Tim who get excited by it. That's like the most beautiful thing about making a movie. And I think collaborating with On-Chain feels like natural, especially with where we are in film today. And so like I feel really hopeful about film. Like I think people are always going to make movies no matter what, and I think original stories will always exist, and it's just going to take more innovation to create those opportunities. But I think that they're always going to happen no matter what.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. And I just want to comment that the thing you mentioned about working with your friends, working with people who are lit up and excited about what you're doing, I just think that's essential in any team, any project. You have to have like full conviction, and you got to be excited about what you're doing, because that will show in the work, right, through the quality of work. And I feel the same about working with different teams in the on-chain space. Like, I've brought people onto on-chain media. I've hired people that, I've just been so hungry and have shown up and like basically have, shown up as a friend to me and supported me and have been there through thick and thin. I'm like, okay, I know I can trust you. Shout out to Cali Crypto. I know he's out there watching right now, my community manager. This man showed up at On-Chain Summit. I was running a media room, and he helped my videographer. He helped me with like tear down, like just there all day, like as a friend being there for me. And after that I was like, okay, come on, I'm bringing you on, like let's go. Like you've shown that like you're excited to show up. So I see that excitement with Tim too for what you're building as well. I also want to shout out, I see some people in the live stream chat. Shout out to Paladex, who's here. I also see Rakili Khan from Ample Protocol saying that Ample is also looking to bring film on chain. So yeah, if you guys want to drop in the comments, like if you have any thoughts or, yeah, I see Cali Crypto out there now too. Let's see. I do see a comment from Cali. He says, hi fam. He said, I'd love to hear everyone's story. But what was everyone's aha moment into chasing the dream of filmmaking? I think that's a good question. If you guys want to share, like if you had that aha moment or that moment of realization that filmmaking was something you wanted to do.
Yeah. Who wants to go first?
Alex, you go first. I've been talking a lot.
I just want to say like what, just speaking to what Giselle was saying, like I think that this idea that, having a group of people who really care about the project they're working on is obviously, I mean, would hope you would be in all filmmaking, but I think specifically in indie filmmaking is like one of the most important processes of it. And, Phil and I were visiting set and hands were needed. And of course we were, asked to jump in and we were like, yeah, where do whatever you need us to do, we'll stand in the street. We'll, we'll do this thing. We'll stand in the scene.
Alex's hand is literally in the movie. I needed a
Yeah.
hand. He was just
Yeah,
visiting. I'm like, hold this.
It's like an Easter egg. Yeah, that's awesome.
But I was just going to say, I think that's reflected in the crypto community as well, right? Like, whereas with like traditional financing and with the studios, like obviously it's a big numbers game and there's a lot of IP involved and separate deals that are involved in, certain talent where like with what we're trying to do on chain, it's like those people are in the same way the people who are coming to visit set on the indie film, because it's people who are genuinely passionate about it. And if they're not excited about the idea and they're not excited about the process, they're not necessarily going to invest in it, right? So that's kind of the beautiful thing about the on-chain space and with specifically indie filmmaking is it's like we're bringing on the kind of indie mentality to financing, which I think is very rare, honestly. And so that's really exciting. But just wanted to point that out. Just to answer your question, I mean, I don't know, I've loved movies since I was a kid. I didn't always know I was going to study filmmaking. Giselle and I went to school at NYU, where obviously our world was opened up, not just from.
Oh wow, I'm from New York originally. I went on the
Okay.
NYU campus tour. I ended up going to FIT though. I studied fine arts, but yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, I think that obviously just being in New York was very inspiring from like a film perspective, and just I think for me personally, I can say like I am not the biggest school guy, and I think surrounding myself with like-minded individuals was the kind of biggest part for me in the film space, and just to be inspired by others. And I think that, yeah, honestly, I think like when I was just the community I was surrounded by at NYU and just seeing the projects that were being made, like definitely really set me on a track to be like, this is what I'm gonna do and this is what I want to be doing. And as you can tell by Giselle and I, working together right now, obviously like that kind of idea has stuck with me. And so, yeah, I mean, I think my real intro to film making specifically was obviously at school. And when I got out of school, just being inspired and making my own projects and directing my own projects has gotten me obviously way deeper in the process. But
Well, congratulations, you guys, for sticking with it. It sounds like, as Giselle was saying, like there's kind of a 10-year period of grinding to like make it to this point. So just congratulations to you both for sticking with your craft, sticking to what you love. And clearly, I mean, the caliber of actors, people you're bringing into these creative projects, you guys have definitely been making some waves. Looking at your trailer, I saw you have Rob Lowe in there, and I'm curious, Giselle, how was it working with Rob Lowe? Like, what was your relationship to him as an actor, and how were you able to get him involved on this project?
Honestly, like I couldn't believe that he would consider doing this project, and it was really because like he's a phenomenal actor, and like is just such a
Oh yeah.
pro, and so funny, and I feel like he loves playing, and I love making comedies, and like what's so what's so fun about this one is that we're like it's basically if like School of Rock was shot with the severity of Apocalypse Now, where it's like not a traditional comedy. It's like very dark, even in the visual language of it, because we're in the main character's psyche the entire time.
Yeah.
And and that's what like gravitated Rob towards the project. And he's like, I'm so used to playing the villain, but this one has, the way Alex Heller wrote the character, he's just got so much more nuance than that. We're really like both the school principal and this like frustrated middle school theater teacher are both like really just like concerned with legacy and like trying to leave a mark. And I think that's where you lose your identity when, and honestly, like what we were talking about, like your community, and you get blinded by like individualistic goals. And he was really attracted to making a comedy about that. And on set, he just like loved playing. Like we were constantly improvising, and everyone, was welcome to pitch the funniest take possible. And it just felt like so. I never felt more like alert in my life, because you're
Mm-hmm.
just like everything he
You
does
gotta
is
be, yeah,
so
present.
like meticulously hilarious. Like even just in the mannerism he moves his, I don't know, he's just like kind of a bird sometimes. And like you never, he's just very, it's just fun editing him now. I'm like he's so unpredictable, and that like unpredictability just makes everything so much funnier.
You probably
And
get some really great takes with that kind of energy, because like you never know with that spontaneity, like how much creativity is going to go into each moment.
Yeah, and like and having him on set just kind of like makes all of us want to step our game up and be like, this guy's taking a chance on us. Like let's like everyone was like already working so hard, but it was just like he really came on as a producer, and lent us his name and his skills as an actor. But he's like, we're gonna make sure that people watch this movie, and he's on a mission to bring indie film to LA, and just like film in general, because the tax credits, everyone's like shooting films everywhere else, and people in LA and all the unions are out of work. And so I felt really
Yeah.
privileged because of his involvement to be able to make this film union in LA, where I'm from, was amazing.
Yeah, I've spoken to some people in the film industry about this. I don't know if you guys know the film Annie from like I want to say it was like the 2000s or 2010s, the remake of Annie. I was on a plane. I was going to New Orleans, and I was sitting next to her. I didn't know it. We just struck up a conversation. And then after, I was like, "Oh, let's get connected. What's your social?" She's like, "I have to warn you, I was Annie." So we start talking, and she was telling me about how this was during the SAG-AFTRA strikes, and she was telling me
Yeah.
it's like it's actually really tough for actors, for actresses, for a lot of people in film and entertainment. And I view the on-chain space as a vehicle for helping to solve some of these problems, to kind of bring more economic opportunity to indie filmmakers, creators. I think it's a really big opportunity. And let's see, I have another question for you here, Giselle. So you also worked with Tony winner Will Brill and the the imitable Jacobs. How was it working with them as well?
Will is gonna be the next Jack Nicholson. He is so amazing, and he's kind of a chameleon, and like I just even in the edit right now, I'm like, this guy is like a man of a thousand faces, and he can like
Hmm.
he's just like so he's like I don't even he just can do so many different characters. I was like, they're like, because most of this film is like him just like spying on the principal and his ex-girlfriend, and I'm like, you're gonna be the next either Inspector Clouseau or like Jack Nicholson in The Last Detail. He's just like so he's first of all like so down a clown, um, and was here for like our indie low budget madness. Um, and oh yeah, there he is. I don't know how we got so lucky. The reason he was in Stereophonic, I didn't see it, but I saw his speech when he won the Tony, and the first person he thanked was his therapist, and I was like, I'm sold. This guy is Doug. Like this guy
That's awesome.
is like our main character. If the main character like didn't move to New York to pursue his dreams, and we were talking about that before he like signed on to the project, and he was like, I think about that all the time because he's also from a small town in California, and he's like, I always think about what would have happened to me if I hadn't moved to New York and just like roughed it for 15 years.
Mm. And it looks like so he's also been in some big titles here, like the OA. I remember the OA, the Marvelous Miss Maisel,
Yeah,
Time Travel. He's been in some pretty big titles.
because
Yeah.
he's like so great at like character. Like he's such a great character actor, but he's also like a phenomenal leading man. So I just
Yeah.
think like this guy's gonna like everyone's gonna know who he is like very soon. And not because of our movie, but just because like there's no doubt he's gonna be a movie star.
Yeah,
he-
he's I mean if his track record of titles and yeah, the work he's done, I mean it's very impressive, you know, like some of these like the OA, I think this was a Netflix show, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely some big names here. And then I just want to shout out Rob Lowe. I mean, been a big fan of him, his work, his style and creativity. My favorite Rob Lowe character has got to be from Parks and Rec. If you guys know,
Yeah.
like the ultra healthy character who's just like always focusing on his health. That's my favorite character from Rob Lowe. Just absolutely hysterical.
Yeah, he's so funny. And then I do want to mention like Gillian Jacobs is she's just like such a great human being, and she comes from indie film, and so whenever like shit was hitting the fan, she would just look at me and be like, I got you, or like I'm here for you. And like as a first time feature filmmaker to be supported by somebody like that, and just like I think her first day on set, her and Will, we like finished their scene within an hour, which is like really fast. And it was just like I was like, oh wow, this is what it's like working with actors, you know. Like when a lot of times for short films you work with your friends and it's really fun and a completely different kind of experience, but when you work with people that are like, you know, artists and have done the work on their own and are just like here to like work, it's a completely different feeling. And you suddenly as a director I was learning not to talk, like just let them do their thing, because I found like I just didn't want to ruin it because they just were so natural and great together.
yeah.
Yeah.
I just know. I just
Go
want to say like, the with like, you know, with Will, like again, like echoing what Giselle was saying, he's such an incredible chameleon, and he's one of those people where I think, at least right now, a lot of people will say, you know, they won't recognize him by name, but then they see his face and they'll go, oh, I've seen that guy in various places, and like most recently, he just had like a small but incredible role in Caught Stealing, which was Darren Aronofsky's most recent film, and you just see him as such a chameleon, but also so authentically himself, and seeing that with Rob and seeing them play like on set and just seeing how well they work together is like something to be really excited about. And just, you know, with Rob, you mentioning, of course, everybody knows him from his Parks and Rec character. I think there's like a beautiful blend of that character in this, that kind of straight-laced, uptight kind of health god,
Yeah.
combined with a much like a darker edge that's just like so exciting and fun to see in this. And I think just, yeah, it's incredible to have this cast on board, and to be seeing them all together on screen is going to be really exciting.
Yeah, well, you guys should really be proud of yourselves. I mean, as filmmakers, bringing together like this is an all-star cast. I mean, you got some really big names joining you for this, and as a filmmaker, I bet that just feels so good for you to be supported, to have these people early on that believe in you. And you know, I think you guys are going to do exceptionally well with this, and I'm excited to see the future of your project and your film. So yeah, moving on to my next question here. And by the way, if you're watching this, if you want to drop comments in the live stream chat, if you have questions, you want to chime in, feel free, and we'll go to the question shortly. I'm curious, Giselle, Alex, and Tim, filmmaking being an ever-changing art form and business, what are you all most excited about as it continues to grow and evolve seemingly every day?
Yeah, I mean, Giselle, please. You want to start?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like a lot of the conversation lately has been around like AI and how it's going to affect the film industry
Hmm.
specifically. And I just think like we've always told stories like since the beginning of humanity, and I don't see film as like a human made medium going away anytime soon. Like even if, I'm sure studios are going to make AI like originated content, but like I don't see film as an art form going away, and that's why I love indie filmmaking so much because the team behind the film and the original concept has like a real authorship over it, and
Yeah.
so I I especially like as far as like innovation, like collaborating with Onchain feels kind of like a new pioneer where a lot of our financing came from friends and friends of friends who work in tech and have the ability to give large sums of money that I'm so grateful for, but like that's not coming from traditional studios. Like we went like the traditional route and trying to find financing, and then you have to like cast a certain actor in order to like whatever, and it felt like it was never going to get made if we were waiting to do it the traditional way, and I didn't want to wait for permission to make a movie. And so my friends and I have just been like hustling to try to find new avenues to do that, and I'm so grateful for Phil and Alex and Tim. Like this is my first time seeing Tim's face, but I've heard
Oh
about
wow.
him from Phil and Alex, and I'm
That's
just like
exciting.
it's so cool to see other people excited about the project too and feeling a sense of authorship, because that's just what happens when like you're just like going to the community for help to try to make a
Yeah.
film as opposed to just like a faceless entity, like a, I don't know, studio. I don't want to talk shit about studios. I would obviously make a studio film if I got the opportunity, but like but like as a new filmmaker, no one is going to give you that opportunity.
Yeah, I really like that. Especially like positioning like crypto, fundraising on chain as sort of like a, alternative path to like all these like, unfortunate realities that big budgets are kind of going through right now. It's like, you have AI, like the sort of consolidation of IP, like it just doesn't leave a lot of room for like creative filmmaking. And like, I mean, like our token holders, like just the sequel token holders right now, it's like I think 1,500. What, Al, do you know what the like
Yeah,
current is?
it's about 1,500 people. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like we're like already by doing this sort of creating a network of believers in this film, who are going to like, want this film to do well. And like, they're, and the cool thing about the creator fees and stuff is like we're not ever going to sell any of this token. It's just like we are making money off of people like getting excited and like speculating on, um, this IP. And I think it's really gratifying to like, you know we are basically we have enough money to you know give to this film at this point. And we reached sort of that initial goal, and I think that this model can be repeated for a lot of other indie films who are in a similar situation where they have the cast, they have the talent, they have they have everything, but in this day and age, like, uh studios aren't going to support them. So like, why don't we do that on chain and sort of provide another, um, avenue? Honestly, it's very like, come trying this back to B3. Like this is very much what we are trying to do with gaming, and like kind of find a new path for game devs to like create their games. I think film is almost an easier way to, and almost an easier like target, because it's, you know you make a film versus making games can be a lot more complicated. So
Yeah.
I'm really excited for what this can enable, and I'm super excited to like sort of unfold more of the like launchpad stuff that we're working on, which is the aim to finance more of these films. So like, moving past the musical. So yeah.
Well, I want to put out the bat signal to my Film 3 friends out there. Just sent a link to Kristen, to Pippin from Pattern Integrity, from Film 3 DAO. Also, shout out to Sherry. I saw Sherry engaging with this. She's also an indie filmmaker who recently premiered a murder mystery crime drama at the Film 3 Festival, where I premiered my documentary as well. Also, shout out to my friend, your boy Nancy, who's an animator creating this incredible animated IP. I don't know if your boy Nancy is in here, but I shared the link with his community as well. And I want to take a moment just to acknowledge, we have some comments coming through, some questions. I'm just going to go through some of them before we get through the final points on our agenda here today. So, all right, looking at the questions here, Food 3 says, this flick sounds awesome. Let's see. Will sequel be in the credits of the movie? Will sequel be in the credits of the movie for the musical?
Yeah, so that's something that
Yeah.
we're just speaking to like the last question you asked about, how things have been evolving so rapidly in the film world. I think that specifically in like people of my kind of age range of like who like even from when we graduated from college to now, like so much has changed and like the streamer world and everything with that. And I think this is like a beautiful kind of marriage of it's kind of, I guess, a culmination where we were a little bit lost for a while and now we're finding a way to like a path forward, and this being the first example, which is really exciting to be able to have. Again, I don't think people know how rare it is to be able to shoot a film at this budget that was raised in this sort of way in LA, and to do it the way that Giselle and her team did it is really incredible, and just at the pace and everything that they did it and with the resources they had. But yes, our idea is like that is what we want to do. We want to bring the community in, and we want to bring, we want people to see that they've made a mark on the film. So of course, yes, like you will see sequel somewhere there in the credits, and we're really excited about that. And we're really proud of that idea, just to have been able to contribute and to be able to round out that budget using this, this new resource is really exciting. So yes, to answer that question, you will be
There
seeing.
will also be sort of, our own credits in for like token holders, basically.
Nice.
You'll see a ranking of who are the executive producers of sorts of sequel. So we definitely want to give back to like who are the big people in our community. And I think I would love to figure out a way to put like a QR code somewhere in our logo so that can be like visible in credits and stuff going forward. But
yeah, well, I want to show people also where they can get connected, like how they can get involved with this and become a holder as well. You guys, you can follow them at Sequel Movies on X here. And you can see here from the bio, they're financing curated films Onchain, and the first feature that we discussed here today is the musical. You can see the contract address here and their website, sequel.movie. Now, I do want to talk about like steps for people to get involved here, but I am curious, just if we can go around, I want to hear from everyone here. What are you all most excited about the on-chain space? And Giselle, I think hearing your perspective, I mean, we were talking about this before we went live today, but hearing from someone who is not crypto native, who's not on-chain native, I think we really need to hear perspectives of people who are kind of on the cusp of like exploring it. Like, what are you most excited about? And share unfiltered thoughts too. Like, what do you think we need to be doing more of? What do you think are the opportunities, the potential? Like, what are we doing well? Maybe you can give a little synopsis here.
I feel like I'm I'm like the least experienced person to talk about this. I had Phil with the Alex's partner explain it to me like 5 times because I'm like, how is this money real? I don't understand. I'm like, what are you talking
Magic
about? What is
internet
it?
money.
It
Yeah.
literally, that's what it feels like every time someone explains it to me, and I kind of always go smooth brain whenever they get into the nitty gritty. And I'm like, this is why I'll never be rich because like I don't know how this like digital money works. But as long as the film gets to experience the profit that I as an individual will never experience, I'll be happy.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the thing I'm most excited about is just that we're just getting started with this. I think that, we tried to finance this in the traditional way. We tried to go to, to kind of private equity people. We tried all these different ways, and then we came to this conclusion, and we really put it kind of on the path that we wanted to see it go through and to see that through and to see how well it's working for us is really exciting. And I'm just really excited that, again, Tim mentioned the launch pad, something that we're, planning on releasing hopefully soon, that will allow us to continue doing this and to use this like great first project to kind of continue this process and keep funding Onchain is a really exciting idea. And that's, again, that's what I'm most excited about here, is just being able to kind of replicate what we've done here with, just scale up and do more and more movies and, fund more and more filmmaker visions.
Yeah.
Well, I'm
I think-
excited for you guys. Real quick, Tim, I just want to comment on what Giselle said, and I think this is a common truth for people building Onchain. I like how she focused on like this is what my ultimate goal is. This is what I want to accomplish. I want to make my film. This is my, this is my baby, and this is what I'm focusing on. I feel like the on-chain space can be a place for you to show up and do whatever you're passionate about, right? It kind of just like adds to what you're already doing. But I like that you're focusing on your goal, you're focusing on your craft and exploring how on-chain can help you like accomplish your dream, and building what you want. So I think that's a really really positive thing. And if you don't have experience in the on-chain space, like you can come build your dream and like help it, like basically help to build what you want to do on chain. So I hope that made sense. But yeah, Tim, I'll pass to you.
Yeah. No, I think that crypto has like two superpowers: generating liquidity, number one, and like a perfect fit for films where generating liquidity is very hard and very monopolized by big studios. And then two is sort of like forming communities and like distributed communities. So I think it really is a perfect fit for kind of like disrupting indie film. And I'm very excited for like kind of creating, and I come from like a branding background, and so like this as a like case study of like we helped finance whatever 100 through 300K for a film that has Rob Lowe and Gillian Jacobs and all these people, and it went to Sundance, and we want all these things. Like we can create such a powerful message for more filmmakers to sort of come experiment on chain. And I think that's the type of flywheel that like I think at least the base community really wants to see, is just like cool real art, not just like your brother's like short film, like, but like people who are like doing it for real, and like there's just a need in the market for it. So I think I'm really bullish on it, and really happy like from being in space for so long, seeing like a practical use case and to be able to be involved with like cool art at the end of the day.
Yeah. And just to hop on really quick of what you said, Rachel, you asked if that makes sense. I think what you just said in so many words was like kind of captured Sequel's ethos, in the sense that like, that's exactly what we want to do. We want to use on-chain technology to fund filmmaker visions, and that's something that we're excited to do with Giselle. We want to put ourselves in a position where we're able to say, Giselle, we trust you. Here's the money, and please go make what you envision in your mind, because that's something that we believe in, rather than having all these other hoops to jump through or all these other different metrics to meet. It's about being able to believe in a project, have the community believe in a project, and fund that project and let the filmmaker do what they're supposed to be doing, which is just to make their vision happen.
Absolutely. I love that. And I do feel like that should be like for everyone, right? Like what is your dream, and how can the on-chain space help you to get there, right? Like for me, it's always been media, right? It's always been talking to people, storytelling, like doing interviews like these. Like I love doing this, and I've been able to build a brand and to build a company. And this might actually be my first live stream since announcing this, but this week there was actually an acquisition of my company. I announced this week, and it would not have been possible. I mean, I built this company over the past year plus, and would not have been possible without being in this industry, the opportunities and doors that's opened up to me as an entrepreneur. And yeah, I think anybody can jump in and build whatever you're passionate about, and your vibe attracts your tribe. You'll find the people who want to support you along the way, and yeah, it's been a very exciting journey. So big week for Onchain Media here. And yeah, I'm going away. I don't know. I told you guys at the beginning. I'm going away tomorrow. Like this week has been wild with the acquisition. I'm going away for 1 week. This is the first time in a long time I'm traveling for a non-crypto conference and just going on a vacation. So unplugging for the next week. And yeah, grateful to close out the week with you guys here. This has been awesome. And I do have one final question for all of you here. How do you guys view sequel helping to move the film industry forward?
First of all, I mean, congratulations on the acquisition. That's
Thank
huge.
you.
We're doing that here live. I mean, I think we've been talking about it the whole time. I mean, I think that, just replicating this idea is great. And again, letting the filmmakers do what they need to do is kind of, as long as we can find the right projects, which we feel confident in doing, and we're able to continue this process, I think we'll be in great shape. And I'm excited just going forward with that. And I think speaking of that, and speaking of the filmmakers, seeing their vision through, I think that Giselle needs to get back to working on the musical actually as we speak, because she's taking a break so kindly.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, I know today, like we got on
in
deadline.
order to be here with us, but we need her to get back to
Yeah.
back to the good work,
Yeah, but this has been this has been really inspiring. It was like a nice creative juice before going back into the edit. And congratulations. I'm happy you get to unplug.
you.
I cannot wait to unplug. Enjoy it.
Yeah, going to Mexico and Honduras over the next week. Yeah, I like I said, have not taken a vacation in several years. I've been grinding. I've been building this company, so very much looking forward to it. And yeah, I really do view sequel as really helping to show what's possible for filmmakers and creators on chain. And yeah, I just want to support you guys and let people know about this. So before we wrap here, can you just share where people can connect with y'all and what are the steps to get started with sequel?
Yeah, Tim. I mean, you just kind of showed the Twitter and showed our site, which is always a great place. We're always looking at that. We're always ready to reply and to kind of see what the community is saying about sequel. So I think that's the best place. But Tim, if you have anything else.
No, I mean, I think just we'll be kind of building out this launch pad and stuff. And so there'll be more kind of canvases for sequel. But yeah, just reach out, DM us on Twitter.
Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. Well, thank you guys so much for being here today. And for all of you who tuned in, thank you for tuning in. I see you all in the comments and the live stream chat. Thank you guys for taking the time today to learn more about sequel, and we will see you on the next stream.
Thank you guys.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks.
Bye.